David Kahn was the general manager of the Minnesota Timberwolves for 4 years starting in 2009. During his tenure, he oversaw an overall record of 89-223 and an incredible run of baffling draft-related transactions that led most Wolves fans to feel just like Admiral Kirk. While hours might seem like days, I assure you this breakdown won't last that long. It all started a month into his tenure when he traded Randy Foye and Mike Miller to the Wizards for Alexei Petrov, Darius Songaila, Eitan Thomas, and the Wizards' 5th pick in the 2009 draft, which became Ricky Rubio. Petrov played in 44 games and was out of the league. Songaila was traded soon after for Antonio Daniels, who was waived a month later. Around that time, the Wolves traded Eitan Thomas, a second-round pick, and a conditional 2010 second-round pick for Chucky Atkins and Damian Wilkins. The Wolves almost immediately waived Atkins, while Wilkins gave them 20 minutes per game of average play before the Wolves let him walk. So, to start, Kahn was able to turn 2 decent players into Ricky Rubio, a valuable starter his whole career. If that was all he did in 2009, it would have been good. But in a draft where they had 5 picks, 4 in the first round, things got a little screwy. With the 6th pick, he chose point guard Johnny Flynn. With the 18th pick, they chose point guard Ty Lawson. At 28th, Wayne Ellington. And at 45th, Nick Kalathis. Johnny Flynn started okay in Minnesota, but an injury hindered him, and he was traded to the Rockets for Brad Miller, the rights to Nikola Mirotic, the rights to Chandler Parsons, and a lottery-protected 2013 pick, which became Andre Robertson. Brad Miller was quickly traded with a 2013 second-round pick and a 2016 second-round pick for a 2017 second-round pick that must be one of the last 5 picks, or else it just goes away. Mirotic was eventually traded to the Bulls for Norris Cole and Malcolm Lee. Cole was shipped to the Heat for Bojan Bogdanovic, a 2014 second-round pick, and cash. After 2 forgettable years, Lee was traded in 2013 along with Andre Robertson for a 2014 second-round pick and cash, and the Wolves sold that pick to the Rockets for more cash. Bogdanovic was later traded to the Nets for a 2013 second-round pick, the same pick they had traded away with Brad Miller, plus even more cash. The same day they got Parsons, they traded him to the Rockets for a 2012 second-round pick that was not exercised and $1.5 million in cash. Kahn quickly shipped Lawson to Denver for a 2010 first-rounder, which became Luke Babbitt. He then traded Babbitt to the Blazers with Ryan Gomes for Martell Webster, whom the Wolves waived after 2 seasons of undistinguished play, but who is now a very dependable backup wing for the Wizards. In exchange for a fantastic starting point guard, the Wolves ultimately got nothing. Ellington played 3 below-average years with the Wolves before flipping him straight up for Dante Cunningham in 2012. After 2 seasons of undistinguished play, the Wolves let Cunningham go. And after drafting Kalathis in the 2nd round, they immediately traded him for a 2010 second-round pick and cash. The problem is, sports fans, cash can't suit up and hit jumpers for you. In 2010, the Wolves used the 4th pick of the draft to pick Wesley Johnson. Some notables picked after him: DeMarcus Cousins, Greg Monroe, Gordon Hayward, Paul George, Larry Sanders, Eric Bledsoe, and Avery Bradley. After 2 disappointing seasons in Mini, they packaged Johnson with Brad Miller, Jerome Dyson, and a first-round protected pick, and got back a 2013 second-round pick, a 2014 second-rounder, and a 2016 second-round pick from the Hornets. A year later, they traded that 2014 second-round pick with Luke Ridnour to get Kevin Martin and some cash. While Wes Johnson was flipped for Kevin Martin ultimately, it must be noted Flip Saunders orchestrated that deal, not David Kahn. Let's move to the 2011 draft, where Derek Williams was selected 2nd overall. At the time, it was not a bad choice, but other notables selected after him: Jonas Valanciunas, Kemba Walker, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, and Jimmy Butler. After 2 seasons of uneven play, he was traded to Sacramento for Luc Richard Mbah a Moute, who was then involved in the Kevin Love trade, but that also was after Kahn left. Remember when Johnny Flynn got traded to the Rockets? Well, they sent their other first-round pick with him, which became Donatas Motiejunas as number 20, as well as a 2012 second-round pick. This could have been a great trade for Minnesota had they kept any of the returning players. In the summer of 2010, Al Jefferson was traded to the Utah Jazz for Kosta Koufos, a 2011 first-round pick, and a 2012 first-round pick. This was a very curious deal, since Jefferson was coming off a good rebound year after tearing his ACL, and there was no urgent need to trade him. To make matters worse, they moved Motiejunas with Johnny Flynn, then dealt those pieces they got back for him. Before the 2012 draft, the Wolves traded away the Jazz first-round pick they got for Jefferson, and while that pick became Terrence Jones, who's a starter for the Rockets, they got back Chase Budinger, who's played 64 games in 2 years, and Lior Eliyahu, who will never see the inside of an NBA locker room. Al Jefferson has gone on to earn All-NBA third-team status, just on the edge of being an All-Star, while David Kahn turned him into Chase Budinger and Lior Eliyahu. This is just a taste of some of the ill-fated moves that have doomed Minnesota to mediocrity since Kahn took over. Mind you, we didn't even mention losing Ramon Sessions, re-signing Darko to a $20 million contract, and the Kevin Love contract extension fiasco. The future looks a lot brighter now that they've got some fresh young talent on the roster, and the more years go by, distancing them from the David Kahn era, it appears the better they'll become.